Hey, and welcome back to Crunchy Fingers. Today we're gonna be talking about how to shoot panoramas with the Fuji GW690. So we loaded some Portra 400H. Is that even a film? So we loaded some Fuji Pro 400H because we thought it was appropriate to catch the soft morning light. First, you need some adapters. 120 cameras usually take the old spool from your previous roll of film. So you can use one of those, which I actually do all the time. Or you can use the spool from a 135 film canister. You can just break this open with your hand and take this. That's where I got this one from. And you can attach this old strip of film. It's about 20 to 30 centimeters. You attach it by tape like so, and this is actually really good because these plates will align your film as it spools, so it's not gonna jiggle, it's gonna stay straight, and you're not gonna get your film is not gonna be sitting tilted inside your camera. So if you want to use this method by attaching this part to this part, you need to have a second pair of these adapters. Unfortunately, I don't, because when I bought it, they only had one pair. So I stick to using the 120 spool. And usually what I do is I thread some old film through here, and then I tape it, and then I start rolling it. You can do that, but today I decided that I'm gonna try something new. And I cut some backing paper. I centered my ruler in the middle of this, and I measured 3.5 centimeters, which is the size of the 135 strip. Will sit perfectly between the lines. This is a guide for me to align it. So we don't need this part anymore. And you'll do the same with either method. So if you're using the 135, you can just align them like so, and then use tape. But I'm gonna use the backing paper, and the reason why I'm doing it this way is that the backing paper now will make sure that it keeps my film aligned when it's sitting inside of this one. And so I think now it's ready to load it up in the camera. Of course, you need to add your adapters, and like so we take our spool and we load it in like usual. I have to say, I've seen some other tutorials online, and they usually put some tape in here. Take some tape and you just let it stick and you roll it, because this frame counter. Honestly, I've shot a few rolls so far with Panorama, and I didn't have problems. So if you don't want to put any tape here to preserve the condition of your camera, I would say just make sure you roll it tight so you can keep tension here. So now everything is where it's supposed to be. And before you close your back and start rolling your film, set it to 220. Usually it will be in 120, like so. You hold these two corners and pull down. You hook this side here and you push it down, and there you go. So it's always, you hold the corners, you push down against this hook, and you release this hook. And if you go back to shooting 120 film, you need to remember to switch it back to the appropriate size. We have our film length selector. This camera is designed to shoot 3 different types of film length. This one is what we're gonna have to set it to. Now the camera will only roll and shoot 16 exposures. Even if you have longer film inside, it will stop at 16 exposure. So it doesn't matter how much you try to save the film by adding more or shooting all the way until it ends, the camera will not shoot more than 16 exposures. And we start rolling. So we can see that we have tension because the plate in there is moving. So now you want to take the film out after you finish taking the shots. You notice that this is stuck because I couldn't wind it anymore and didn't finish the cycle. It's normal. Once you open this door, it will go back to its position. You see it's stuck. Don't freak out. If you did everything the same way I said and you used 35mm film, 36 shots, you loaded everything correctly, you put this one on 16 exposures, then you should get at least 15 shots. So sometimes this one might give you some resistance, keep winding, but if you get to 15, 16 and it doesn't wind anymore, it means that your film has no more in it. This is just a test roll inside, so now I'm on frame number 4. If you notice that, it's because it's a test film. So there is no winder here. There is nothing to release the tension here on this side like normal cameras. And we need to take the film out. Our last frame is sitting here right now. And the rest of the photos that we took are wound up on the spool. So if we open the camera, which I'm gonna do right now, you will see that if you opened it, you burned your shots because the last shot is absolutely gone and everything else is in here. So don't worry, this is an old film that doesn't work. So the way to do this without opening it in the light, well, you have to go inside a dark room or have a dark bag, a dark changing bag, which is basically a bag where you put your hands in here, and on the other side, before you stick your hands in, you can just, a lot of you probably already know this, but for those of you who haven't seen one of those before, if you develop at home or you just want to be able to manipulate film in conditions like this, get one of those. You put all your stuff in there and then you close it up and you just stick your hands here and you do the work. So usually if I'm planning to shoot more than one films, I fold this nicely and I just put it in my camera bag, and when it's time to change panorama film inside the Fuji, I just pull it up and do it if I plan to shoot more than one film like this. If not, and I'm just going around in the neighborhood, I will just load one up, and when I come back home, I will throw it in the dark bag and do this. So now, the first thing that you want to do once you open it, whether you do in the bag or in a dark room, completely dark room, you need to release your film, both of it. So the way that I do it, I just take this one out and like this. And then I start spooling it back. And at the end we have our tape here. So what I do is basically remove all the tape altogether. This part was already exposed, so I just do this. And I spool it all the way back. So the reason why I do it like this with the tape, I leave the tape on because this part of the film is already exposed. And by having the tape, it's gonna protect it from going in deeper, which you don't want because this film doesn't have a lip anymore. And then you will have to destroy the canister to take it out because the film extractor will not catch it without the lip. And so you do this part inside in the complete darkness and your film should be okay. And now you're ready to take everything out. You save this one for the next roll, and then you take your adapter, put it away where you can find it, and your film is ready to be developed. And about the camera, you see now it can wind. So this is me from the future. I just did the tutorial on how to unload this camera, and because I completely forgot to record that. And since then, and since I recorded the original video, I noticed that I have been getting a lot of tension here. And let me show you what I mean. So if I load the film, this is just for demonstration purposes. This is the same film that I used in how to take the film out. And that's when I saw it actually. So now you can see that if this film was going down, you see it starts to create tension because of the angle here, right? So I see there's resistance. And you might think that, oh, the film is reaching its end, and then you take it out, but the film still has a lot more inside. So in order to fix this problem, we figured out something very simple that anybody can use. You can probably find other ways that might be also as good. 3 toothpicks and some smooth tape. We have matte tape here. It's smooth. I mean, we're just assuming that if it's anything with more resistance, it might cause more resistance. And the way to use it is basically you load your film as usual, and you throw it in here. Simple as that, behind this thing. And then when you push your film forward, it's gonna stop it from reaching that weird angle that was creating the tension. And with your backing plate, it should sit flat in place. So we put our DIY stopper in here, and now we can spool it a little bit to see that there's tension, right? We create tension here. And now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna actually close it and I'm gonna wind it. When I wound the same film, same exact strip of film, during the tutorial for how to take the film out, I got to frame number 4 and then it stopped. I'm gonna close this. And now we're on S. Frame number 1. Now I'm starting to feel a bit of resistance, and now it's finished. And I will show you. Now we got to 6th frame. So we got 2 more frames, and it rolled very smoothly all the way until the end. You can see, this is where I taped the film. First time, if you look at the demonstration for how to unload the film, you will see that we didn't see the tape. Because of the resistance, the film was not able to be pulled out all the way. Because I stopped myself because I thought I was tugging on the tape and I didn't want it to break. But as you can see, this time the tape is visible and it rolled smoothly all the way. So I thought I should mention this because I don't want anybody having any problems, and I hope everything works out for you. What was I saying? I was talking about something. The shutter lock.
Yeah.
The shutter lock is really cool because it protects accidental stuff. So that's how we kept the camera from shooting any frames from yesterday till today when we were not using it. And I like to lock it in between shots because with the cable attached, you know, It's weird, the cable, I don't trust it. So I'm gonna be quick with this one. I'm gonna expose the scene at f3.52 seconds. شنو؟ طعم جديد. فوتوغرافيرا.
Gatan.
So here's where I fucked up.
What happened?
I was rushing, people were talking to me as I was taking the shot, and I forgot to unlock the amazing shutter lock feature. So when I did unlock it, I think I might have had my elbow in the shot. We shall find out. But if the photo came out, we got a bonus subject in the photo. What I'm attempting to do here is to go for a Dutch angle on a panorama with no guidelines of where the frame is. So it can be a big mess. But if it works out, that might be cool actually. So in order to make the frame guidelines, you can make a mask that you can put through the rangefinder window. Basically, all you need is a piece of black foam. You can find these in art supply stores. And what you need to do is cut it 2.5 centimeters long and about 2 centimeters wide. Inside should be about 8 millimeters. Just leave enough on the sides to keep its shape. And then you just insert it right here. Add some electrical tape. First of all, to keep it in place. And second of all, to block the light from coming in from the side. Because this tends to fall off if you're not careful. And so I don't want to worry about it all day as I'm walking around on the top and bottom without affecting the mask. And this will secure it in place. And it should improve the viewing experience. When you're using the mask on the viewfinder, when you look through, you have to make sure that you're looking straight so your camera is not tilted forward and upward, because then it will shift the angle and you might be not seeing exactly what the camera is going to see at the end. Even if when you're looking straight ahead, it's not going to be 100% accurate. But I noticed when I was shooting it in Panorama without the mask, every time I look through the viewfinder, I see the complete viewfinder and I see the complete focal length of the camera, which is very different than what I'm supposed to be composing in. And for that reason, as I'm walking around and looking for my next shot, I was always thinking in the frame that I see when I look through. And it was kind of counterintuitive. Every time I put it through, I see exactly what I imagined, and then I remember, oh, I'm shooting panoramic, so I have to reprogram my brain in order to reimagine the shot, and then sometimes I will see that it won't work. And so by doing this, it will help you to just keep thinking in the same way, in the same composition, and get your shots better. So we found these statues, and we kind of walked a long way to get to that area, and we didn't find anything so interesting, so I thought maybe we just at least take something. And it's quite funny because as soon as I took that frame, I took 2 of my favorite shots of the roll immediately after, like less than 50 meters away. So you never know. But the idea was to shoot at f22 to get everything in focus, because we found these statues, the water fountain, and with a cool building behind them. I think it was the train station. So I muted for the shadows in the statue. I didn't want to crush anything, just to get the detail in the original negative, and then I can decide if I want to crush it in post-processing. But I'm pretty happy with the final results, and it was a bit tricky. So since I decided to shoot at f/22, I was definitely gonna get into a reciprocity failure zone of the Fuji 400H, but I couldn't find so much information on the subject. On the technical sheet of the film from Fuji, it says that for every if you hit 16-second exposure time, you need to double your exposure value by adding 1 stop of aperture, if I understand correctly. But that was not possible because I couldn't compensate with my aperture, because I wanted to set my aperture to f/22. So my only option in that case was to add more time to the exposure. So I thought to myself, I'll double it to 30 seconds. It's not actually doubling, because with reciprocity, as time passes by, the film is losing ability to record light. So we decided to add another 30 second, and then I threw in a 45 second just for good measures. 1 minute and 45 seconds at f/22. We got a nice frame, I would say. I'm pretty happy. Like, the colors are like I remember them. It's quite sharp. It's evenly lit. Even the sky has some color to it. It's not completely black. And it's pretty accurate, I would say, because the sky was definitely brighter than the top of the building, which was completely black. Is it fair to compare these two cameras? Who cares? I think I'm gonna do it anyway. If we look at the price, the Hasselblad can go somewhere between 4,000 to 5,000. I don't know, depending on which lens you get for it, how many lenses you get with it. It's not gonna be less than 4,000, unless you're very lucky and you found one. I got this one for about $500 to $600, the Fuji GW, and I know you can get them for cheaper, depending on the condition they're in. This one was very clean. It was refurbished, new light seals and everything. So I was very happy with the price. Yeah, there are other differences beside the price. This is not a 35 panoramic camera. It can do it though. You can't change the lenses. There's a lot of things that you probably already know about it, and if you don't, you can check my review about the Fuji. I think I cover everything I know about it, at least. And it has its drawbacks, but for what it is, I really like it, and I think it's an amazing camera. And the lens, I think the lens is really good on this one. However, it's the only lens you have, while with the Hasselblad you do have different lens options. If you want something similar to the Fuji, I recently learned about a Fuji GL, I think it's called 690, which is I think an older model, an older version of this, and it has interchangeable lenses. Never tried it myself, but if you're into this kind of thing and you want interchangeable lenses, look into that. This one shoots medium format, 6x9, the biggest format you can get of this form factor, let's say. Hasselblad Xpan, you are stuck with 35mm, and that's all you're gonna do. I think you can switch between panoramic and non-panoramic, and you also get 22 frames per roll or so, 20 to 22 frames per roll on the Xpan. With this one, you're gonna get 16. Although you're getting bigger frames on the Fuji GW, because you have 9cm wide panoramic shots, so they're more panoramic. While with the Xpan, I think they're 6 or 7 centimeters wide. I mean, 4,000 for the Hasselblad is the same price as RB, RZ, Fuji GW, and maybe an f3 with another lens. That's 4 cameras and 1 more lens. What? I don't understand, but I do understand. The world is f***ed, and we're all gonna die. Get ready. If you get the Hasselblad, you get what you pay for, from portability to interchangeable lenses. However, there's a caveat, there's a rangefinder, so at one point you need to have a different viewing scope for certain lenses. With this one lens, one look. You know, it's not the smallest camera in the world, but it works. And I'm pretty happy with the panoramic shots we got. I've been rambling for an hour now, and I'm not sure how to end this video, so I'm just gonna end it right now. Thanks for watching. Peace. No need, they know what to do. Eva's asking me to tell you to comment and subscribe, but I have faith in you that you will do it without me asking. So, I've been rambling for a long time right now. If you are still watching, I love you. Thank you so much for paying so much attention. And I hope you found this video entertaining and informative, and either or. And please come back and watch another video. Yeah, thank you so much for watching. Peace.
You want me to stop?
And if you want to buy a 35mm camera, buy a Nikon camera, because Canon suck. You know what I mean?